For neither Yisrael nor Yehuda is widowed by his Elohim, Yah of hosts, though their land has been filled with sin against the set-apart one of Yisrael. Flee from the midst of Babel, and let each one save his life. Do not be cut off in her crookedness, for this is the time of the vengeance of Yah, the recompense he is repaying her. Babel was a golden cup in the hand of Yah, making drunk all the earth. The nations drank her wine. That is why the nations went mad. Babel shall suddenly fall and be broken. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she might be healed. We would have healed Babel, but she is not healed. Let us leave her and each go to his own land, for her judgment reaches the heavens and is lifted up to the clouds. Yirmiyahu 51, 5-9. Her cities have become a ruin, a dry land and a desert, a land where no one dwells. Neither does the Son of Man pass by it. And I shall punish Baal and Babel, and I shall make him spew out what he has swallowed, and the nations shall no longer stream to him. Even the wall of Babel shall fall. Come out of her midst, my people, and let everyone deliver his being from the burning displeasure of Yah. Yirmiyahu 51, verses 43-45. Cut off the sower from Babel, and him who handles the sickle at harvest time. From before the sword of the oppressor, each one turns to his own people, and each one flees to his own land. Yirmiyahu 50, verse 16.
Shalom, Mispacha. It's been a minute since I've done a video, and I'm a little bit too high. I am doing a video because of a few things that have happened. I'm actually working on a very, very big video, so you should be able to see that one probably within about a week or so. But today is April 24th, and I live just outside of the Toronto area. My daughter and I woke up a few years ago, and Yah told us to get out of the city. So we did that. But first I'm going to start by talking about going to Shabbat service. Now, we normally go to Shabbat service, and we leave our area, and it takes us about 3 hours by transit to get there. I know that's a long time, but we've been looking for a congregation, an assembly, and Yah provided this for us. So who are we to tell Yah that we, let me make sure the volume is up, we don't want what he is giving us, right? So we found this congregation, and that's what we do every Saturday if we don't get a ride. That said, we normally stop at a specific spot after Shabbat service to get a bite to eat because, you know, it's been a long day, it's a long trek, and even though we have a little bit of food at Shabbat service, by the time we are on our way home, we are usually pretty ravenous. So we usually stop at a specific spot to get something to eat. Now, I want you to hold that in your mind as I deviate a bit. Now, I believe that a lot of so-called black people are waking up to the fact that we are not liked. We have incident after incident after incident showing that the establishment here does not like us. So I'll start in the U.S. and then I'll come to Canada. There's killing after killing after killing of our people by police. They kill our innocent boys, they kill our men, they kill our women, and we can't even wait a few minutes in Starbucks without the police being called. We have chemtrails being sprayed on our land. The cities are poisoning water in places like Flint, and we just got wind of the fact that they're putting lead in the water in Chicago, and so that is no surprise that the people living there are acting crazy. It's no wonder. It's been planned. And speaking of planned, don't let me get started on Planned Parenthood. But people think that stuff only happens in the US. No, my friends, that's happening here in Canada as well. In the Tdot, a black man was accosted by law enforcement personnel and then police in the subway because they suspected that he didn't pay a fare. Eventually, there were 6 people on top of this man. 6 people. And what is the fare in Toronto? $3.25. They eventually found that he did pay fare. He just was a little bit scared because things were going crazy. He's like 19 years old. So he panicked and they held him on the ground, hitting his head, hitting all kinds of parts of his body. So now they're suing him. And with good reason. That's the equivalent of, excuse me, $2.55 US. $2.55. I've had several incidences with the police where they have stopped us because we were either driving a car that looked, my former husband was a body man, and it looked like the car was, beat up. So if it was between paint jobs, we would have things like body filler and stuff like that that hadn't been completely done, or primer. So if we were passing through nice neighborhoods, they would stop us. When I got a really nice car, they followed me home a lot. My brothers have both had incidences where they were just stopped for no real reason, right? That is how things happen here in Canada. These people do not like us. My daughter and I have been making plans to flee this area. We look back and see that Yah was making sure that we were not comfortable. We, after I left my abusive marriage, lived in a nice house. It was 3,000 square feet in an area that was a posh part of Toronto. And yeah, it needed upgrading, but we were comfortable. And what did Yah do? He flooded the basement. So we eventually had to move when our landlord wouldn't fix it. And that happened again in another location. And it is now happening again in an area that we are, in the place we're living, because the house is nice enough and we will get comfortable. And we're both allergic to mold. So the only way he can make sure that we don't get comfortable is that if he puts something in our way that we are so uncomfortable, we have to start making those steps. We have to keep making those steps. So we keep purging. We're definitely not attached to things anymore. All my stuff is inside of an 8x9 room. I don't have a lot of stuff anymore. So that's how he is keeping us focused on fleeing Babylon. Now back to the Tdot thing that I told you to keep at the back of your mind, the Toronto story where I was going to Shabbat service. Remember I said that we didn't want to be in the Tdot when all hell broke loose. In the grand scheme of things, Toronto has remained pretty well unscathed in terms of big incidences that are of devastating proportions. And we knew that Toronto was on target for something big to happen. We were kind of tentatively holding our breaths, but what we were praying is that we weren't in the city when it happened. Well, on Saturday we went to Shabbat service, and like I said, we stopped at the place where we normally stop but this time for an item from the dollar store. We didn't stop for something to eat. I still had fruit that I could have eaten, so I was eating that on the subway on the way home. Well, Monday at 1:26 p.m., a man drove a rental van through the sidewalk right around where we were on Shabbat. On Monday, the 23rd of April, my daughter happened to be home from work, and at 1:25, I asked my daughter, "What time is it?" I had the oven on. I turned the oven, checked the oven button, and checked the clock, and we both said 1:25. That's it. We didn't think anything of it. Why did we look at the time? I have no idea. Except now Yah is showing us why we did. Why did that man choose that day? He could have chosen Saturday. He could have chosen Shabbat. Yah, in his mercies, protected us from this incident. My daughter even has friends living in the area who have taken pictures. They could have been downstairs. These are women, girls, I call them girls, that I know, I have seen, I have talked to. So this would have been hard for me, much less my daughter, if something had happened to these girls. The real gist of my video is this. My friends, if America is Babylon, and I have seen so many videos by our people that say they believe it is, then why are people not preparing to flee? That's my question. I'm so very confused. We read the Bible. We know the Bible is cyclical. We believe that America is Babylon. The Bible tells us to flee Babylon, yet people are not moving, believing instead that Yah will save them. When Abraham was told to flee, he got up and moved. When Lot was told to flee, although he did so reluctantly, he got up and left. When David was told to flee from Saul, he's on his tail, he got up and ran. When Miriam and Yosef had to flee with our HaMashiach, they got up and left. Fleeing in the Hebrew sense of the word involves action. We need to wake up, people. We have been asleep too long. 3, possibly 4 of the trumpets have sounded, depending on which way you look at things. Chernobyl was wormwood. Okay, so Chernobyl means wormwood in Russian, those Slavic languages. Wormwood is a type of vine. Okay, 3, possibly 4 of the trumpets have sounded. There will be chaos in the final time on the earth. Get out of the cities, at least get out of the cities. Collaborate with other Hebrews. And if you can, get out of North America. These people have never liked us in the first place. They've never liked us. The merchants of these, those who became rich by her, shall stand at a distance for fear of her torture, weeping and mourning, and saying, "Woe, woe, woe, the great city that was dressed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour such great riches was laid waste, in 1 hour. And every shipmaster and every passenger and sailors and as many as work the sea for their living stood at a distance and cried out when they saw the smoke of her burning." That cauldron in Yellowstone Park, beware of that one, saying, "What is this great city?" And they threw dust on their heads and cried out, weeping and mourning and saying, Woe, woe, the great city in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth. Slavery. For in 1 hour she was laid waste. I don't think people look at that. America was made rich by slavery. Ships. Rejoice over her, O heaven, and you set apart emissaries and prophets, for Elohim has completely avenged you on her. That's Revelation. Oh gosh, I didn't put it, but I think it's Revelation 8. So check into that. Google Babylon has fallen in Revelation. So I'm ending with that. Nisbacha, Babylon is falling. It's time to get out. Get out, my Nisbacha. I hope this has been informative for somebody, and leave me some comments in the comment box. I am moderating this particular video, so any comments that are inappropriate will get deleted. And I hope this has helped somebody. Like I said, if you've not done so, please like, share, and subscribe, especially for someone who you've been trying to tell they need to flee. All right? If you have any questions on where you could possibly flee, I have a few connections, so you can, again, connect with me by email at youarethechosenones1@gmail.com. That is youarethechosenones1@gmail.com. Until next time, shalom.